controversial choice. Also, after that meeting in the Oval Office, President Obama late today on what the meeting was like. And does he still believe Mr. Trump does not have the temperament to be president? Also breaking, the verdict is in. The father charged with first-degree murder, accused of intentionally leaving his toddler to die in a hot car. The state of emergency tonight, more than 40 fires burning in the east. And this evening, the American city where families are being told to wear masks. The major new guidelines tonight about the kind of drug millions of Americans take to help prevent strokes and heart attacks. And gone too soon. Paying tribute tonight to journalist Gwen Ifill.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Monday night. And we begin tonight with President-elect Donald Trump's team now being formed. Also coming into focus tonight, his plans on immigration, his proposed wall, and on the Supreme Court, Roe versus Wade. Also tonight, we are hearing from President Obama for the first time about that meeting at the White House, those 90 minutes together. He is asked, were there any surprises? And we start tonight with Mr. Trump's first choices, and they do not come without controversy. ABC's Tom Yamas on the new Trump team.
Tonight, inside Trump Tower, one of the president-elect's top advisors now becoming the story. Stephen Bannon, former chairman of right-wing Breitbart News, now named chief strategist and senior counselor to the new president. Bannon upfront about his loathing for the political establishment.
Don't believe the mainstream media. Don't believe the establishment. Do not believe the permanent political class. We are on the right side of history.
Bannon, a champion of the alt-right, a conservative movement many say is fueled by racism, sexism, and anti-Semitism. The man who will soon shape the White House message published headlines like these. Hoisted high and proud, the Confederate flag proclaims a glorious heritage. Birth control makes women unattractive and crazy. And this one, calling conservative analyst Bill Kristol a, quote, renegade Jew. Today, the Southern Poverty Law Center saying Bannon simply has no business in the White House. The Anti-Defamation League calling him hostile to core American values.
Steve Bannon's been the general of this campaign, and frankly, people should look at the full resume. He's got a Harvard business degree, he's a naval officer, he has success in entertainment. I don't know if you're aware of that, and he certainly was a Goldman Sachs managing partner. Brilliant technician. Bannon's
appointment comes amid ugly fallout from the election. These words scrawled near a church in Maryland, Trump Nation, whites only. And in one Pennsylvania school, chants of white power. White power! In a Michigan cafeteria, Latino students harassed by chants of build the wall. Trump asked about it on 60 Minutes.
I am so saddened to hear that, and I say stop it if it helps. I will say this, and I'll say it right to the camera, stop it.
The president-elect now turning his attention to the Supreme Court, vowing to appoint justices who will overturn Roe v. Wade.
I'm pro-life. The judges will be pro-life. If it ever were overturned, it would go back to the states. So it would go back to the states.
Some women won't be able to get an abortion.
No, it'll go back to the states.
By state? No, some.
Yeah. Well, they'll perhaps have to go to another state.
So would same-sex marriage go back to the states as well?
It's law. It was settled in the Supreme Court. I mean, it's done.
Trump still refusing to reveal his plan to take on ISIS.
You said you knew more than the generals about ISIS.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I probably do, because look at the job they've done. Okay, look at the job they've done. They haven't done the job. Now, maybe it's leadership, maybe it's something else. Who knows?
And what about Trump's promise to build a border wall?
Are you really going to build a wall?
Yes.
They're talking about a fence in the Republican Congress.
Sure.
Would you accept a fence?
For certain areas I would, but certain areas the wall is more appropriate. I'm very good at this. It's called construction.
The Wall Street Journal reporting that after his meeting at the White House, Trump was surprised by the scope of his new responsibilities. But on 60 Minutes, nothing but confidence.
Are you in any way intimidated, scared about this enormous burden, the gravity of what you're taking on?
No.
Not at all.
I respect it, but I'm not scared by it.
And Tom Yamas joins us live tonight from Trump Tower. And Tom, President-elect Trump has been fielding calls from world leaders over the last several days. And today he had his first conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
President-elect Trump's office tells us that the Russian leader, Vladimir Putin, called Trump to congratulate him about the election, and President-elect Trump noted he wanted to have a strong and enduring relationship with Russia. Now, the Kremlin says they will continue their conversations on the phone, but they hope to have a face-to-face meeting in the future. This coming as the transition process is well underway. We mentioned Steve Bannon. He will be an equal partner with Reince Priebus, the new White House chief of staff. Trump tapping a D.C. insider to help him with Washington. David?
Tom Yamas leading us off tonight. Tom, thank you. And late today, before his final foreign trip while in the White House, President Obama was asked what that meeting with President-elect Donald Trump was like. Our own Martha Raddatz asking the president, does he still believe President-elect Trump does not have the temperament to be commander-in-chief? Here's what he said.
Tonight, President Obama opening up about what happened before this moment.
Thank you, everybody.
Pulling back the curtain on his 90-minute one-on-one meeting with President-elect Donald Trump. Given some of the harsh words you had about Mr. Trump, calling him temperamentally unfit to be commander-in-chief, did anything surprise you about President-elect Trump when you met with him in your office?
Well, we had a very cordial conversation, and that didn't surprise me to some degree because I think that he is obviously a gregarious person. I also think that he is coming to this office with fewer set, hard and fast policy prescriptions than a lot of other presidents might be arriving with. I don't think he is ideological. I think ultimately he's pragmatic in that way, and that can serve him well.
But Mr. President, you had talked specifically about his temperament. Do you still have any concern about his temperament?
I think what will happen with the president-elect is there are going to be certain elements of his temperament that will not serve him well unless he recognizes them and corrects them. Because when you're a candidate and you say something that is inaccurate or controversial, it has less impact than it does when you're president of the United States. And I think he recognizes that this is different.
And Martha Raddatz joins us live from the White House tonight. And Martha, the president, as I mentioned, leaving on his last overseas trip as president. And he was asked about the foreign leaders who had expressed concern about Mr. Trump before he was elected.
He was asked about that, David, and he said that during that meeting, Mr. Trump expressed interest in maintaining our core strategic relationship, that he is committed to NATO. I'll tell you, the allies will be very happy to hear that, David.
All right, Martha Raddatz right there at the White House tonight. Martha, our thanks to you as well. Also late today, Hillary Clinton and her phone call with members of Congress on Capitol Hill after another phone call with supporters and donors this weekend, acknowledging the pain and placing a good deal of the blame, she says, on the FBI director. He brought the emails back into sharp focus just 11 days before the election, then 2 days before the election, revealing they found nothing. Here's ABC's Cecilia Vega.
Late today, Hillary Clinton calling her Democratic allies in Congress, telling them not to be discouraged or divided in the wake of Donald Trump's win. It is the opposite of a victory lap. Clinton also reached out to top donors this weekend, telling them she is heartbroken and blaming her loss in large part on that renewed FBI investigation into her emails just 11 days before the election, saying Director James Comey stopped their momentum. Clinton said his letter just 2 days before the election clearing her actually fueled votes for Trump and is what really hurt them in the end. A loss made even more painful by the growing popular vote tally, Clinton winning by nearly 700,000 votes and counting. But unlike those coveted working class voters that helped propel her into the U.S. Senate, this time Clinton failed to win them over. Today, President Obama hinting at why Hillary Clinton might have fallen short.
I won Iowa not because the demographics dictated that I would win Iowa. It was because I spent 87 days going to every small town and fair and fish fry and VFW hall. And there were some counties where I might have lost, but maybe I lost by 20 points instead of 50 points.
In the end, she lost 3 key Rust Belt states. Her path to the White House derailed there by a combined 107,000 votes. Her old rival Bernie Sanders today.
I like Hillary Clinton, but I think it is fair to say that the working class of this country did not believe that she was prepared to stand up and fight for them.
And in concession, Clinton herself acknowledging the nation's deep divisions.
We have seen that our nation is more deeply divided than we thought. But I still believe in America, and I always will.
An emotional Kate McKinnon playing Clinton one last time.
The baffled king composing hallelujah.
SNL saying goodbye with this musical tribute.
Hallelujah. I'm not giving up, and neither should you. And live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Millions, of course, watching SNL over the weekend. Cecilia Vega joined us live tonight. And do we know anything else about what Secretary Clinton revealed in those calls? And did she give any clues about what her next steps might be? Is she done with politics?
Well, David, interestingly enough, the one thing that seems to not be coming up in any of these calls to allies is what comes next. She's just not talking about it. But today she told Democrats on Capitol Hill, quote, "We have to understand what happened in this election." David?
Cecilia Vega with us again tonight. Cecilia, thank you. We turn to other news on a Monday night and next to Georgia here and to the verdict in the so-called hot car murder trial. Justin Ross Harris arriving in the courtroom to hear his fate, facing murder charges in the death of his 22-month-old son in the back seat of the family SUV. The jury delivering the harshest verdict, finding him guilty of deliberate murder and 7 other charges. Here's ABC's Steve Osunsami.
For a good number of stressed-out parents watching this trial, there was something uncomfortably relatable to Justin Ross Harris's claim that he accidentally left his son in this hot SUV, where 22-month-old Cooper Harris died in 2014.
We find the defendant guilty.
But a jury in Georgia tonight is siding with many other parents who will never understand how this father forgot his son. Harris sat nearly stone-faced as jurors convicted him of murder, cruelty to children, and other charges that will likely send him to jail for life. They deliberated for more than 3 days and asked to see this piece of police station video, where prosecutors say he and his now ex-wife were recorded going over his story.
Did you say too much? All I did was told him the events of the day.
She told jurors she, too, believed Harris forgot to drop their son off at daycare on his way into work.
He must have forgot.
Even workers at the daycare say they thought Harris was a good dad, but it wasn't enough.
Problem for Justin Ross Harris is that he came across as a creepy bad guy.
Prosecutors argued that Harris was leading a double life and wanted to live child-free. He'll be sentenced December 5th, and his lawyers are already talking about an appeal. David?
Steve Osunsami, who's been on the case from the start. Steve, thanks. Next to the states of emergency along much of the East Coast and in the South, 41 large wildfires raging tonight from Alabama to Virginia. One of the most fierce in North Carolina there, growing 20% in the last 24 hours. In fact, tonight, the smoke creating serious health concerns. Some families told to wear face masks. ABC's Eva Pilgrim is in North Carolina.
Tonight, across the Southeast, 5,000 firefighters from as far away as Alaska battling blazes that have scorched 80,000 acres.
It's very dangerous, especially with the fatigue that they're going under right now.
Hundreds evacuated from their homes. The smoke so heavy in North Carolina, some residents are wearing masks.
It just went in my lungs, and I had to get out of here.
Air quality in Atlanta now unhealthy and getting worse.
This is all smoke, this kind of milky white haze across metro Atlanta and North Georgia.
Officials say many of these fires were deliberately set in eastern Kentucky.
You just want to be extremely careful if you're out there.
This aspiring weatherman warning people on Facebook to beware of flames, allegedly confessed to setting one of the fires himself. David, you can see this fire is moving very slowly down the mountain right now. There's no rain in sight, and there's leaves on the trees. When those leaves fall, that just adds fuel to the fire. David?
Eva Pilgrim with us tonight. Eva, thank you. Overseas tonight and to New Zealand after a deadly early morning earthquake. The magnitude 7.8 quake and powerful aftershocks triggering evacuations and a tsunami alert. 2 people were killed, 1 coastal town completely cut off, and the damage is now estimated at some $25 billion. These cows stranded on an island in their pasture after the ground gave way around them. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Monday. The warning about statins tonight, that's coming up. Also, the twin murder mystery, the new developments coming in. The sister behind bars, accused of killing her identical twin by driving off a cliff. And this question, was it intentional? There's also news coming in tonight about the popular Netflix show Making a Murderer, and now the person at the center of the case that they profiled ordered to be set free. And we pay tribute tonight to journalist Gwen Ifill, a trailblazer, a role model, a friend, gone too soon.
Salonpas. We're the world leader in medicinal pain patches. When developing an alternative to expensive prescription lidocaine pain patches, our goal was clear. Make new Salonpas lidocaine the best alternative, period.
We kept the same prescription size, the